So what we're doing is really now using the pyramid of our needs, our drives, our hopes, our dreams, as well as the invisible pyramid above it, which is the construct. So the invisible pyramid above it, Maslow didn't know there was an invisible pyramid above it. Let me give you that one. The cone of excellence. So the invisible pyramid above it is the pyramid of us as meaning makers and our intentions as we give meaning that comes back down and informs our needs, our drives, and enables us to self-actualize, so that in the middle is that crucible area where we can hold the space to allow physiological needs, mental, emotional beliefs, hopes, dreams to be held to where we can start to self-actualize. So as we pull everything together, this pattern, I think of it as an integrative pattern that's going to tap into all that we've been doing, from the construct to the crucible to now the zone. To get into the zone, we need to welcome and embrace in a space where we can just bring in the drives that drive us, all the lower ones and all the higher ones, utilizing our highest instinct, meaning making. We have no instincts. Some people really don't have any instincts. We have, as Abraham Maslow called them, instinctoids. Sometimes they can hurt. But that's to help you remember the word, instinctoids. They're instinct-like remnants of instincts. But our instincts don't inform us anything, whereas animals have full instincts that inform with content information. But we don't know how to be human. We have to invent the way to be human, and we call that culture. Maybe educational, family culture, maybe individual culture, racial culture, gender culture, religious culture, but we have to, so our instinct is meaning making, which then gives us specific content for our lower, higher needs. And when we do that and optimize that, then we can begin to become everything we can become and be fully functioning as a human being, fully alive, fully human. And that's what we mean by living the self-actualizing life at this higher level. So this pattern is going to pull it all together into one place, and we're going to do it with one thing. And so the pattern you can use over and over with many different facets. And so what you started on day one, what do you want to be unleashed to, and what will you be unleashed from? We're going to now look at that possibility and play with meaning and performance. So I've written out the number so that I'll stay fairly close to the pattern, because my purpose is to demonstrate the pattern. Once you know the pattern, you can just kind of reinvent it as you go, which is my tendency. So I wrote that out so I can pay attention. Okay. All right, Hal, give him a hand. So let's make sure you got that on?
Yep.
You know that. So we're going to start with the crucible, and yesterday you created a space for yourself. And so I'm going to invite you to bring that crucible and just hold that space for yourself, and then I'm going to support that space too. And as you do, just bring out that metaphor that you had, the place where you feel safe, you feel loved, you feel explorative, so that you can just really welcome into this place so that we can do some real work of exploring a possibility.
All right.
Okay? So as you do that, how much do you have that sense of space to support you actualizing?
7.
Okay. This space, as you bring this out, let me remind you that this is a place where you can just accept. Just accept whatever we bring out, whatever you bring out. Just accept it and just witness it. So however you do witnessing and just noticing what is. And as you notice what is, and as you just accept it, welcome into the world, so that we can now find its value, find its significance, and appreciate. And how you do that is you appreciate its value and look for that. So appreciating that, now we're ready just to say truth, to to be honest in a ruthless way, just to have the eagle strength and a fortitude of looking at it and deciding at your choice point, do I need it, do I not, to what extent, to what not, and just this space. Okay, so how much do you have that space now?
About 8.
Okay. Is that sufficient for us to begin to work with?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in there, yeah.
Okay. So as you stay in here, and we're going to welcome this, what would you like to actualize? What possibility is there, maybe lurking there, that you know that's, well, I'd like to explore that possibility for myself?
I would like to stick to the plans that I make up.
Okay.
I'm good at making plans, planning, but I'm less good at sticking to it.
Okay. So sticking to the plans that you make.
Yeah.
So as you think about that, what's on your mind? How do you represent that, think about that, sticking to your plans?
I'm good at having a vision of what's of a plan, but before I start doing it, I start getting caught in time of doing something else or getting distracted, and the plan kind of sits there, and I want to be more prepared before I go ahead, and and then something more interesting comes along, you make a new plan and continue with that.
So I'm hearing what you want to be unleashed from.
Yeah.
Those interferences, those recruitments that something else is interesting and you go there. You want to be unleashed from that.
Yeah.
So that you can stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Sticking to the plan. Tell me something about that. What does that mean? How does that work?
When I stick to it, I feel that I need to whip myself in shape to be with a plan, and that it involves suffering. That it's good if I suffer, then I'm producing something.
Okay. Okay. So there's a frame we probably want to be unleashed from.
Maybe.
So the first thing that comes to mind about sticking to a plan is whipping in shape, and that's full of suffering and pain.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we've identified what it is, sticking to a plan, and in a minute we'll come back and map that out a little bit more clearly. What is the potential, the mental potential, the emotional potential, the linguistic, behavioral, relational potential that you have as a potential, as a capacity to stick with your plan?
I have the potential to stick with it if I make it in a relaxed way and joyful.
Okay. Okay. So if you make it relaxed and joyful, make it mentally, so when you think about it, it's a relaxing, joyful process?
Yeah, I believe that if I would make it joyful, I would appreciate doing it.
Okay.
More. Yeah.
Okay. So the potential, do you have that potential to make it?
I do have that potential, yes.
Okay. To make that potential, that sounds like we're going to use your mind and emotions to formulate something joyful and fun. Do you have the potential to language that and to create it in words so that you have a map of how to do that?
Yeah.
And do you have the behaviors, the behavioral capacity and potential to make that happen?
Yes, I need to just sequence it step by step and break it into parts and feel small joys.
Okay, small joys
along
the way.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do. Let's look for resources now. So as we start to map this out, this potential of sticking to a plan and to sequence it in small joys, what are the resources that you can bring to this to make this happen? So any resource that you have?
Making images.
Okay.
Feeling stuff in my body. I often express myself. I sense. I move forward. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are some resources. So feeling it in your body, making the plans and the images. What else? What other resource that will help you to make this a joyful process?
I can get the initial momentum, but that's from whipping. So I can get that initial piece going. But,
okay, so we can get it started.
Yeah, the kickoff.
Okay, what resource could maintain it, could sustain it?
if it feeds back to the vision, so from the vision I had originally, if I get something along the way that enriches the vision,
Okay.
that would be making more joyful.
Okay, so there'd be a resource if you got feedback to the vision. If I reflect that back, it sounds like do you not hold the vision out in front?
No, I create new ones for other projects.
Okay, okay. So in a little bit we'll go to the meta programs. That sounds like you have a lot of options.
Yes.
And doing options is important.
It is.
Okay. So in a little bit we'll play with that meta program to bring it in to do procedure. Would a procedure, would that be a resource to bring to this?
It would be. I can think in terms of procedure, but I have a hard time living in the procedure.
Okay.
I feel like I'm limited. I'm feeling squeezed in by procedure. I'm more than that. It's almost like I disregard the procedure after I've invented it. I say that there has to be something better.
Okay. So that I can more fully understand what you're moving away from, what does living the procedure mean to you? You said it kind of squeezes you and you want to get away from it. What does it mean?
Dissecting from possibilities, meaning that I have less options to explore and that, so many things, other things to do.
Let's say that's true. Let's say that as you follow a procedure to make something happen, let's say it does cut you off from other possibilities and options. What would that mean if that's really what happens at that point?
I could lose out on other opportunities that are on the sides.
Okay. So, let's say that's so.
Yeah.
What would that mean?
That I might not be following the correct plan at that moment.
And the correct plan?
Well, the correct plan is the one I've already made, though. So.
Okay.
So I guess that's, yeah.
So the realization, I'm not following the plan, and let's say that's true, you're not following the plan, and there's this, and I'm going to give a word that I didn't hear you say, it's just mine, so correct me, kind of a fear that you're cutting off other options.
Yeah.
So when you cut off that, and that means that you're not following the plan, what does all that mean? Let's say that's so. Let's say that happens. You're not following the correct plan, and you're cutting off options. So?
It means that I could be wasting time.
So now I'm wasting time. How are you wasting time?
If there's some other better plan out there, I'd like to capture that and work on that instead.
Okay. So if there's a better plan out there.
But I already realized the fallacy because I was the one creator of the plan, so that was already the best plan I had at the time. So, I made the link now to the fallacy in the thinking.
Okay. So what are you aware of now as you make that link?
I'm aware of that I was the original designer of the plan. It was not some random plan I picked up from the street and said, "I'll follow this." And maybe there's some other to pick up somewhere else. I actually designed it.
So with that realization that you had decided that, so where does it go now? What's happening inside as you have that realization?
It makes it less disturbing, let's say, that other plans might be out there.
Okay.
So those are down-toned.
Do you have permission to follow a plan that you create, that you decided and invented, and just to follow that through? Do you have permission to give yourself that chance to follow it through to see where it will go?
Well, I almost feel like there's a narrowing alley, and I need to open it up and give myself space. And give myself space for that.
Okay, so here's a resource to give yourself space.
Yeah.
So how would you do that? How could you give yourself space even though you're walking through a procedure that you invented?
As I think of it now, I see a procedure as something narrowing. Maybe I could take it, open up, and saying procedure could lead to other things as well. Doesn't mean to need to think it always as something limiting.
Okay. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Oftentimes when we have those fears, it's partly the time sequence that we're afraid, like you said, wasting time. So do you have permission to give yourself sufficient time, whatever sufficient is for you, sufficient time to follow it out before you abort it too quickly?
I understand intellectually that I need to give myself permission, but I don't feel the permission.
Okay. So this would be a resource if you gave yourself permission
Yeah.
to to carry it out in time and not to make that evaluation that you're wasting time.
That's true, yeah.
Okay. So we've got some resources and we're playing around with that. Let's go to the meaning and performance axes with regard to this potential. What does it mean for you to follow out a plan? How meaningful would that be for you personally in your life?
I've now gotten through the stage where I've designed some plans that I have not followed through, that would be meaningful just for the sake of following it through and saying, okay, plan failed, but it's an achievement to follow it all the way.
So it would mean I've achieved, create plan, and follow plan through.
Yeah.
So it would be an achievement.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you make that achievement. What would that mean to you if you go, I can do that?
I mean that I've broken the pattern.
Okay. So it would mean you've broken the pattern, and that would mean, what would be the significance of that? I've broken the pattern.
I think it was as a type of achievement, as something that I've accomplished.
Okay. So let's hold both of those. It's an achievement. I've broken a pattern. What do you get from that? How is that important to you?
Sense of self-mastery, that I am the one who's controlling what I'm doing.
Okay, sense of self, the way you said that sounds pretty important.
Yeah.
Sense of self-mastery, I'm the one who is in control of this.
Yeah.
When you get that, what is in the back of your mind your highest intention? Why do that? Why is that important and significant?
That I'm the one who's governing my life. That's quite important to me.
Okay. Why? Why have that feeling, that awareness, that understanding? What will that do for you?
Sense of freedom, a release.
Okay.
Not being confined.
Okay. So if you have that sense of freedom, release, you're in control of your own life, you're taking charge, have self-mastery, is that a big enough reason to follow a procedure?
Sure is.
Okay.
Sure is.
Is that also part of your vision for why to come up with a specific thing and then making it happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is now.
Okay. What do you believe about all that? Making a plan, following it through, achieving it, breaking this old pattern, sense of self-mastery, in control of your own life, release from those things and freedom. What is all that? What do you believe about all that?
I believe it is very important for... I have a vision of somebody sitting in prison and doing small things, but doing the correct things, or doing things that are, helping. And I'm not doing things that are helping me. I'm trying to achieve goals that are kind of fuzzy and.
Okay.
So
okay.
I realize the importance of small and simple and small steps, but when I face them, they're so small, they're insignificant, and I lose it again. But
okay.
Yeah. That's something I've written in my journal many times. You need to take small steps, but...
okay. So you believe in taking small steps?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that this is important enough to begin to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that.
What would be one thing that you could even do today that would begin to do this, to follow through on your plans? One thing you could start to do today.
I can tick off one item of the action list for next week today.
Okay. Okay. Do you have an action plan written out now about some plan that you want to make happen, some vision that you have?
I have not. Well, I have in my head. I've planned a vision for the business I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in your head.
Yeah.
Is it on paper yet?
No.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you willing to get that committed to paper now?
I am.
Okay. Okay. Is there somebody who could hold you accountable to that? Somebody who could, I don't want to say how. Olaf.
Yeah. Business colleague. I'm thinking to hire a coach for this. I've been to quite a few seminars in different areas and try to tackle it, but still,
Okay.
So I'm thinking to hire somebody to hold me accountable.
Okay.
So
you're thinking about that. Will you do that?
I will do that. I commit to asking Cadden Ridge for a good coach in the LA area, which I will hire.
Okay.
I commit to that.
Okay. So as you think about getting it on paper, getting a coach, getting someone to hold you accountable, a colleague, as you think about all of this, and just imagine taking a step to do that, and another step to do that, how does that settle in?
It feels more natural now. I think the key for me was to make the switch of the, that following a procedure can open to possibilities rather than to limit.
Okay.
That switch.
Okay. So that sounds like that's become a frame now.
Yeah.
A frame of mind. I can open that up, and it doesn't have to narrow in your perception. That's going to open up all kinds of new things.
Yeah.
Okay. Your meta programs, your options meta program, your global meta program, several meta programs seem to be really driving you to the meaning area, but not to the performance area. Which of those meta programs might be a driver that we need to expand?
Take from the meaning and going to the performance. Yeah.
Do we need to expand your procedure meta program? So that you can send your brain to, what's a procedure? What's the one thing I need to do, the second thing, and the step by step?
I was a consultant in procedures before, so I know how to create procedures for others.
Okay.
So it's more of, I've been thinking of the in time, through time, but I've not been been bringing that clear for me. I feel, I'm the in time type of person, or identify many of those qualities, but I've not yet been able to distinguish that out. So I think that's maybe more.
Okay. So as you say, you're thinking about in time, through time, that you're more in time. You can get lost in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have this now on your schedule?
To get lost in the moment, or
no?
What?
To do the to do the procedure.
Yeah.
To do the procedure. Do you have that on your schedule?
No, I'm not scheduled out the procedure.
Okay. Is there anything stopping you from saying the first steps here I'm going to do on Monday, and I'm going to hire my coach by next Wednesday, and et cetera? Things like that.
No, there's no physical obstacles, no.
So is that something you're going to do now?
I will do it now.
Okay. Okay, so to getting it in the schedule, what will help you to bring your awareness, your consciousness down to small steps, to step by step, one after the other, to follow through the plan? What will help you to bring your awareness down?
Maybe to link it to the vision, that I hold the vision and I enrich it as I go along.
Okay. So do you have a particular plan in mind with regard to this we've been talking about?
I think of the business plan for the coming year.
Okay.
Yeah.
The vision for that plan, what is the larger vision?
Start selling a product on a market.
Okay. And what's the grandest vision of that when you sell that product on the market?
That could improve the lives of many people.
Okay. And what's the grandest vision of that when it improves their lives?
That I've been making contribution to that.
Okay. Is that a grand enough vision?
Yeah.
Okay. So we see the business expanding and the product getting into many lives, enriching those many lives, and you making a contribution. What if you put that vision out there that's kind of like where you're going, and each one of these is just steps moving toward that, so that this, as it were, has a pull, an attraction, so that it's your timeline, and you not only can from time to time step in there and just be there, but you can let it be out there pulling on you.
Yeah.
And each step pulls you more and more into that future.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Because then I can look down at a task and I can look up at the pull at this.
Okay. So does that tie in the procedure to the grand vision?
It does.
Okay.
Because that allows me to have daily satisfaction by looking at the bigger goal and looking down.
Okay.
Making that visual
Okay.
switch.
As you think about that, is there anything in you that would object to that?
No.
Okay. Do you feel aligned with that?
I feel certainly.
Okay.
The thing that would object to me is that I know the in-time, through-time concept, and I think of through-time as being something out here. But that's just my construct of it.
So what if through time was the steps?
Yeah.
That you have a sense of, well, I'm at this stage, and now I'm here, and next week I'll be there, next month I'll be there. What if through time was just sequencing it, and you can be inside the sequencing, all at the same time, always seeing the vision and feeling the vision pull?
That would work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that feels aligned there.
Yeah.
Okay. As you think about this and think about moving out and working that plan, getting it in writing, getting your coach, getting your colleague, and all the steps, how's that now feeling?
It feels natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So any other resource that you would like to bring to this that would really crank this up and make it really resourceful and resilient and robust so that it's just so compelling you cannot not do this? Any other resource that would add to this?
I'm trying to link it to the feeling in my body now as I'm
Okay.
thinking through this. Not only having an image, but also having a sense in my
Okay.
body that's something
Okay.
happening.
How much do you sense your body now?
About 8.
Okay. What do you feel? What's going on in your body?
As I came up, I had a bit of nervousness in me, but now I'm not bothered by the audience or you
Okay.
or the filming.
Okay. So as you think about your goal, making a difference with these customers and expanding that and having many people satisfied with this product that you're going to create with this plan, what's going on in your body? How do you feel that vision actualizing that potential with this business?
I feel like a general.
In general?
Yeah. Like something.
All right. How does the general feel?
Straight
Okay.
up. Yeah.
Okay. So muscle tension, breath. Give me the face of general. The voice of general? Is it the voice you've been using, or would it be a little stronger? How would it be?
Would be more speaking from the gut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you embody that feeling, and as you coach your body just to be in this, how's that?
Feel strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a feeling, is this a physiology that you can step into just anytime you want to step into it?
Yeah.
Okay. You could get back to this if we broke state and said, well, be general.
I could. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what would you call that state? We've used a metaphor of general, but what state are you in? Physically, you're straight, and there's some tension, there's some muscle tension and breathing fully. But what would you call the state?
Moving forward.
So it's a moving forward state.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other words that you have for this state?
Helicopter overview.
Okay. Okay. As you think about it now, is there anything stopping you from following the plan and working the plan out, and sustain it?
No, because I have the satisfaction of being day by day, but also looking at the whole plan and looking at the end goal at the same time.
Okay. Do you have joy and pleasure and fun, as you mentioned earlier, with each?
Yeah. And now I'm more sense of feel of pride of having done this.
Okay.
But yeah, it's also linked to joy.
Okay. Could anything take this away from you?
No.
Should I take it away from you?
It's mine.
Are you unstoppable from unleashing this particular potential?
There's nothing in the way.
Okay. If something gets in the way, what will you do?
Swipe it out.
Okay. Okay. So is this ecological for you? Will this enhance who you are, empower you as a person, enable you to be more effective, and achieve the things important for you?
Yeah, it's important for me.
Okay. Well, thank you, General.
Yeah, thank you.
So the process will be the ones we've just walked through, identifying it, getting some of the potentials, the mental, emotional energies. You got lots of questions in that extra, getting resources, playing off the meaning performance axes with all those questions. If there are meta programs that you hear in this process, now we can start expanding them and addressing those, coaching that meta program, creating the action plan, and quality control it. Get Richard first.
It seems like as you went through it, some of this was more the where the energy takes you. Like so 1 and 2, you had to get that established because what are we up to? But then 3 through even 6, we got all the way into 6, and then we went back to other resources, and then you go into what does that mean to you? Back to any more resources needed.
So while we are trying to create a procedure, so that you can walk through them if this is new to you. Once you know it well, then you will follow the energy, touching on, making sure all these components are taken care of. But at first, if you don't know where to go with the energy, and if the energy takes you to irrelevant places, because that's what happens often when you just follow the energy, because you'll hear a word and go ask about that and it has nothing. So following a step-by-step procedure at least keep you on the right path until you get that sense of these components that's going to make up that unleashing. And so that's why I wrote it here, so that I could keep myself following a pattern to demonstrate following a pattern rather than just doing what I would do otherwise.
So it's important then to create the crucible first. You don't have that your steps.
Yeah. Because I want the person to do the unleashing inside of this space where they feel safe and unthreatened. They can just explore it and find so I want them to be in that place, and I want to also help to facilitate that. Now, in this instance with Olaf, I did not have to reestablish the crucible. Now, if he'd gotten off and started beating himself up, if he'd gotten that whip out and started whipping himself and having pain, I would have said, now, let's just witness the pain. Let's just accept, welcome that in, breathe that in. So if the person does that, that's when you'll want to reactivate the crucible and hold that space so they don't become afraid of their own self. Oftentimes, we become there's a fear of, and it could have happened a couple times in this exercise with Olaf, as he mentions, fear of it constricting. And when I asked, well, what resource do you need, he was able to come up with it. But if it had gotten real strong, and then I would say, let's just witness that. Just witness that. I would have also said, let's just welcome in that constricting. Breathe it in. What is that like? How does that settle in? What's that? And so I would have done the accepting and what's valuable. This must somehow have some meaning. What is the meaning? And to activate the appreciation. And if there's no meaning, if it was just like, doesn't mean, well, breathe that out. Let it go. Release it. So I'm going to use the crucible still as the context in which to do this.
So you listen to the meta programs and work on the ones that you think you don't go to the list.
Right. So this is the nice thing about that meta program list. You won't be going through every single one, but you'll be listening for the ones that keep popping out. Did everybody hear when Olaf started talking about all the options, and you could hear, options, procedures. And so, okay, we're going to have to, and so I tried to just highlight so that you know that I'm going to come back and deal with that because it came out.
Going back to the options as his meta program. Is there a reason why you didn't switch that to be a limitation or
well, I don't view that.
reframe it or something? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't view it as a limitation.
When you're always tucking that, is that a limitation or is that just a? I saw that you refined that, so it would be better to do that.
So we want to validate it and pace it. Out of his options, he came up with an idea, and his request is what would help me to, the possibilities to unleash is to follow that through. And yes, he kept, but that's going to cut off my options. And so then that's why I said, why is following through important? And the first two answers he gave me was to tell me why keeping options were right. And I said, no, why is this important? And when he told me that, and it's going to be for achievement, and then it's going to be for breaking this old pattern, and then achievement again, then okay, holding this, then self-mastery, and then being in control of myself, and then release, and then freedom. Is this important enough to follow through? So I'm metastating, but not choosing the metastate to bring to him. I'm finding his biggest metastate is freedom. And being self-governing, is that big enough to take care of this? So I want to know why this is important to follow through. And expect the person's mind to go talk about other things and just give them, bring them back to, you said this is important to unleash, why is that?
So you're chunking up?
We're metastating up. I don't call it chunking. We're metastating up, going higher levels to see what frame holds that. If you get this, what will that give you? And the person, because it's outside of consciousness, and it took a little while for Olive to find, if I get this achievement, this breakthrough, what do I get? And finally, well, self-governing, in control of my own life. Well, okay, let's hold that. If that's what you get, what do you get that's even more important? So we're metastating up intentionality. Because intentionality, if a person has a big enough why, they can figure out anyhow. And so that's what we're doing. John?
His vision of the path which was closing down as it went out, it's like all the options ended up opening the path up, so it ended up having more options as a path, and that was like really significant to him because he didn't have to lose the options. They got included.
And that's what we want to do. We want to integrate all kinds of resources into what we're doing. So we heard Olive say that he wanted it to be joyful, he wanted it to expand things, but we also heard some of the things he's going to be unleashed from, the time thing and the procedure thing. And so hearing this is what we're going to be building it out of and integrating as many resources as possible.
Dr. Hallwell, in his book, Driven to Distraction, when he talks about ADD, he says there's two types of time for people with ADD, now and not now. So what I see here, to me, what you just did, if you were to use this with people with ADD, you could reconstruct a lot of their thinking and release a lot of ADD facets that stop them from being able to focus. Have you noticed that? Is that also...
Well, I don't believe in ADD in the first place, so very few people have ADD. I mean, there's maybe 3% that's diagnosed. The great majority have IDD, intentional deficit disorder. Not attention. They got all the attentions in the world. They're full of attentions. It's just the things that they're supposed to be attending, they have no intention. Here's grammar. I'd always test it with adults. When an adult come in, the doctor say they had ADD or HDD, and I would say, well, if I had a Playboy thing, and you just couldn't pay attention, so everything else gets you. And they said, well, I could pay attention to that. Or the kids with a Nintendo. So it's IDD. I don't care about that. Intention deficit disorder. That's why Nietzsche's statement, if If a person has a big enough why, they can focus anyhow. And so the two parts of brain, what's on the mind and what's in the back of the mind driving it. So attention and intention. And if you live attentional life, you'll just be like an animal or a small child. And anything will get your attention and there'll be no direction or purpose. But if you have an intention, then you can you make your attentions do service to your intentions. Because when you get something in your head, you lose a child in a mall and you have an intention. And you go through that mall, you have a focus. You have a laser beam focus because you're looking for your child. Everything else is selected out. And to live humanly is to be intentional. That's why I went up to the intentional level to get what's your biggest intention. And when a person gets a big, and I ask, is that big enough? Is that important enough to follow through? So, but it does cure, the so-called ADD. The people who actually have some brain chemistry, that's a whole different subject, and they do need some help with that chemically. But that's a room
full of stuff they can't select out.
Yeah.
They hear all of it at this equal value.
Yeah.
I have that same feeling about losing options. And
Let me sack you.
I just put them on the timeline so that when I finish with this option, that's what I'll do next, and that's what I'll do next, and just made it expanded out, so I didn't feel like I lost them. I just put them in the line.
Right. So, and many of us are like that. We want so much, but then we torture ourselves by just never staying with anything till we have that mastery. But this goes back also to decision making. In Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, the first line is, the enemy of great is good. Good is the enemy of great. And I hardly ever make a good, bad decision anymore. Here's something bad and here's something good. I hardly ever make that decision. I have to make decisions between here's greatness and here's goodness, and I have to say no to good things. So as we move toward more excellence, it's a choice between this good thing and this great thing. And your ability to say no to good things. No. Because here's a constraint of we can't do everything. We only have so much energy, so much time, so many. And so once I give myself permission, I don't have to have it all. I will say no to some good things so I can say yes to the best things for me to be my best self. And that's a hard decision. But these are good things. Because as I travel and a lot of people come up and say, here's something really, really good, and it really is, but not for me, not now, not at this time, maybe not ever, because I've said yes to this and I'm going to make this happen. And so the ability to, so good is the enemy of great. So that's that hard decision sometimes we have to make and give ourselves permission to release some things so that we can go after one thing and do it really well and develop some mastery in it. So that may be one of the permissions that sometimes that option thing is creating, that we want so many options. But you can always stretch your timeline out to 140 years and give yourself plenty of time. Judy?
What frames do you set so that if you've chosen something great and people repeatedly come to you and say, why aren't you doing this good thing? Why aren't you doing this good thing? That's not so annoying that it derails you. I mean, how do you frame that so that
I frame it as I've got people who just offer all these good things. It's a banquet. And oftentimes, I know people who, when they say, here's something about ADD or education, or not for me, because that's not what I'm working on now. The next 2 years, I'm working on this or that. But I know some people who that would be a real gift. So I'll actually call them up or say, here's the number, call them up, and pass it on. So to me, it's just a banquet. You know, it's like when you go into banquet, do you have to eat everything? You know, there are some places where I must taste everything. You know, eat what is good for you. Because we live in a world of choices now. Lots and lots of choices. And if you don't have the ability to say no to some good things, it'll just... Anything else about the process of doing this? Because we do want to get to that. Because that's what this is about. Okay, we'll take lunch a little bit late, so let's do 20 minutes each. So how'd that go? Are you the community of the unleashed?
It's a little scary.
It is very scary. So, as you did this process, you stood there between the meanings and the performances to unleash something. And as you identified something to unleash, what we did was to identify the potentials inside to do that, the resources that we're going to bring to it from our higher levels of mind and from our external environment that'll help us to unleash that, the resources. We climb the meaning to see how meaningful that is, and we climb the axes of performance to see what we've got to do to make that happen. Then we profile to see if there's any meta programs from either way that we need to expand so that we can move out and it won't hold us back. And then it's just a matter of creating the action plan and designing that action plan and making sure that it is ecological. So that was the overall design of that. And walking through it one time, my guess is 20 minutes is really short, and that it'd be much better to... You don't have to agree so quickly. Yes, we do. But that if you would take something and work through it over an hour or something and just start unleashing different things that are potentials and dreams and hopes and creating action plans, that this is the one way to do it. Comments, questions, debriefing.
What specifically is an action plan in terms of business?
What specifically is an action plan? Well, it's really a list of what am I going to do to make this real in my life. So depending on what it is, if it's something big like leadership, then there's going to be lots of pieces to it. Whereas if it's something much, much smaller, like beginning an exercise program, the action plan won't be that involved. Well, for some. These mismatchers, is anything I say.
In one meta program, there was like a deficiency in the whole meta program. The options procedures had one option failure, one procedure, which was just one step, and it was too big a step to take. Sometimes can you just enrich a meta program and create solutions?
So the presentation is option procedures. There was just one option, one procedure, failure or not, one step. What do you hear in that presentation that we've already covered on the first day that's more than a meta program or different from a meta program? The cognitive distortion. So our meta programs are meta states that we've brought that now is the way we see, but if they are contaminated with distortion, so either or thinking or black and white thinking will then make the meta program, like you discovered, dysfunctional. So the meta program seems deficient in the whole. So we have to actually, as we go up the meaning level, because the quality of meaning is so low, it's distorted and contaminated with either or. which then creates all kinds of limitations. We've really got to deal with that before we can move further. And because that's an evaluation, and an evaluation about self. I am either a failure or succeeding, and that's all there is in the world, then yeah, that meta program is going to be really not very functional. So running a checklist, and that's where, if you're the one holding that space to reflect back, it seems to me, what do you think, that this is an either or, you're just on the horns of a dilemma, there's not much choice, and it's really threatening you as a person, failure or success. So that's how I would deal with that meta program when you've got a meta program that doesn't provide strengths on whichever side it is.
Is it fair at that point, Michael, to ask, is there a piece of that they would like to work at?
Yeah, we can ask, is there a piece of that you want to work
start
with?
Breaking that down?
Yeah. The problem, though, is like our glasses, that if your glasses are red, then the world seems to be reddish, or if it's bluish, that we're behind it, and so it's like we're blinded too because we've deleted out, and we can't see. We all have blind spots. Things I can't see about which is why I need your mirroring, and that's such a gift if you'll mirror back how I'm coming across so that I can start to catch that perception. And so that's why sometimes even that question, is there something, part of it that you want to work on? Person is blinded by their own filters. So, any other comments, questions in the process? Merle?
Yeah, we were working on it with a piece about permission. And so we're running out of time, so it's like, okay, so let's go ahead and put it out in the future where it's appropriate and allow that to build. And that's what I said, put it out in the future where it's appropriate. And then what she said was, I don't want to wait till the end of my life, and was like pissed, right? And I'm like, you've got it now. She's like, I want it now. I said, well, do you have it? And it's like, yeah. So it was really cool how just, boom, it it just popped.
Huh? Well, good work. Made a high five.
We wrote action plans.
You wrote action plans. Well, you guys are efficient. In 20 minutes.
We got action plans.
And you too.
We did too.
All right. Okay.
She asked me if I had permission from the school program to go ahead and move forward. And it seemed like I sat there in that for an eternity. And all of a sudden said, you don't have to go away. I'm going to retire you because you've served me so well all of these years. Now with my new way of being, I'm going to take care of you in your old age. Kind of, it was really, there was nothing to get rid of. It was just, okay, you can stay here and retire. You just hang out.
Okay. And that started with permission, giving yourself permission.
When she got posed for
Permission to go to, but not to release from.
You had permission to go to, but not to release from.
So he released from, he
put it on retirement.
On the from?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that as distasteful as some of that stuff was, it brought me to where I am, and so it's not, that program's not useful anymore.
Okay.
I just retire him.
So give a gold watch, have a little party.
I wasn't
Get a
that Trip to Hawaii, yeah.
A trip to Hawaii.
And under the positive intention. By doing that, he's honoring the
Exactly.
positive intention.
Exactly.
Especially if he sends him to Hawaii and leaves him.
Any debriefing, anything that didn't go well that you've got a question about, that would be good to bring that up now, about unleashing that potential and going through this process? Epi?
If you find a meta program or two that are really, on the edge, one side or the other, obviously time is of the essence here, but if you were doing, can you exit this and work on that? Because they really seem to be, and then work on that, and then come back to finish the pattern. Let's say we're working with a career client and we have 2 hours a week or something. Does that make sense?
So did the meta program, as it were, create a leash holding a person back?
That was my sense. Yeah, my sense. Now we
Okay.
have it.
So we probably need to address the meta program, coach to that meta program. Which meta program seemed to be
This-
like a leash holding?
In time was one of them.
Just getting lost in time, and then not doing, not sequencing, not putting on schedule.
And very, I mean, like really deeply held. In my perception.
So with any of these meta programs, you can go up this. What does it mean to be in time? How is that wonderful for you? And just go up and build that, paste that. Then about through time, what does that mean to you? And you'll probably hear some cognitive distortions and some limiting beliefs. What does that mean? And let's say that, so what does that mean? And so you go up the scale from this side of it and that side of it just to see what you're dealing with, the matrix of each side.
The procedural question was, would it be appropriate if the assessment is made that meta program is going to need a couple of sessions, making that up, then it's okay to exit and come back. It's not exiting, it's just working on it and it's taking it to that step for an hour or two more maybe.
My sense, my first choice would be just to work on, because that's where the energy is, that's where the person is, that's the leash at that moment, and just deal with it. And because my sense is the process needs that piece.
Oh no, I didn't mean to stop but I meant if it takes a couple of sessions, just get that. Because again, my understanding was that is a critical sticking point.
Right.
Say you're trying to get to a certain action and there's some fear involved in that. Is that something you're going to address right away? Is it kind of like we did the exercise yesterday, or is it going to be more we wait until we get to step 4 here, and then ladder up, you know?
So there's some fear of taking the action?
Yeah, or maybe part of the unleashing is fear of being in the new, of being unleashed to the new action, or the new action has some fear around it. Is that something you can address right away? Kind of like we did yesterday, we laddered up, and what would that mean? And then we kind of dissolved it. Or is it something we wait until we get to step 4? Or,
so probably it depends on how much fear there is and how much it holds back and paralyzes. If it's aware, I'm aware that would be fearful to do that, but the person isn't cringing in fear, isn't being stopped, isn't being paralyzed, then I would highlight it and say, so that's one of the things we're going to get some resources for. So that once you have the resources, once it's meaningful enough, we'll see if the fear is just now dissolved, or if you need some resource to address it. But if a person is just, they can't even imagine going there because it is really activating some sense of threat, then I would go into that and in that crucible hold that to see what that's about and how intense it is, and bring some resource at that point. Fear can shut down the mind to where I can't even imagine myself doing something. So I can't even go there in my mind to map it out. But if a person can map it out mentally, I would map it on out, because we're not ready now to activate it yet. We haven't got our inner game. But once they have the inner game, then to address it.
And would the process be similar to what we did yesterday then?
Yeah, just holding that welcome to fear, to see if the message of the fear is something I need to listen to or something I need to stand up and face anyway. Because the message of fear may be appropriate, and to what extent, at what time, etc., or it may not be appropriate at all. I just need to face the fear. We're going to take lunch, and this afternoon we're going to do the self-actualizing optimization state. So that's what we're going to do this afternoon, stepping in and out of the state that'll turn this thing on. You've mapped it, you've programmed it, but now we need the state, the zone. And you may have stepped into the zone, you may have stepped into the state, but we're going to really highlight it, set it out, and do the self-actualization, optimization state.